Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to this presentation. You may be wondering, what is this presentation for? What am I doing here? Allow me to clarify. I here have this presentation where I am offering you an opportunity to partake in a fantastic, fun delivering tradition. What is that tradition, you may be wondering? None other than Fantasy Football 2025. That is right, folks. It is here. The time is now. You may be wondering, what is fantasy football? What is going on? Fear not. Worry not. Throughout this presentation, I will walk you through everything you need to know about fantasy football. All of your questions shall be answered. I will be your guide. Let's dive right into it. I am your host, as well as the league president, Finn Vakmala. I come from the United States of America. As you may know, I am the token American here in this beautiful, beautiful city that we call home. And as the token American, I would love to introduce to you our beautiful tradition of fantasy football. I myself have been participating in fantasy football for 4 seasons now, for 4 years. And let me tell you right now, with each season that I have played, my enjoyment of the game has only grown, which is precisely why I would love to share it with all of you. I would love to share the joy and excitement and the turmoil, all that fantasy football is, with all of you, for I would hate it if you were to be missing out on such an exciting opportunity. My goal, of course, all the time, is to have a good time. I want to be happy, I want to laugh, and I want to make you happy. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you queef. Let's move on. So, you may be thinking, Finn, I don't care about football. I don't even know the rules of football. I don't understand how fantasy works. I feel like if I participate, people might think I'm a Sid. And I know. Don't worry, I understand those concerns. But let me tell you, those concerns make you perfect for this league. Why is that? I don't know. Let's move on to the next slide. I might clarify it for you. This league is meant for fun. We are meant to enjoy not knowing what is going on. Trust me, this league is meant for the people who do not necessarily have the best understanding of football. I myself do not have the best understanding of football. You will not be alone. And that is what makes this league fun. Imagine you are going up against an opponent who has equally little knowledge of football as you. And neither of you know what's going on. It's just a toss-up in the air who's going to win. It is like 2 turkeys in a kitchen trying to make baklava. They would have no clue what's going on. And that is what makes this entertaining. That is what makes this fun. And from experience, I myself was very unsure when I first began. I was like, I don't know how fantasy works. I don't really care about football. I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, in my very first season, I found myself dedicating time and putting in serious effort into my team, into my research, and into my games each and every week. And my opponents, who also are by no means athletes, they by no means care about football, were equally feeling just as passionate as I was. They were becoming fans of fantasy, not necessarily football, but the dedication they showed to their team was outstanding. And I truly, deeply from the bottom of my heart feel that you too could be surprised by how captivating this amazing game can be. So I beg you, please, before you make any final decisions, give it a chance. Give me a chance. Moving on here, should you choose to join and partake in this league, we will be using the app ESPN Fantasy Football. This is by far the most widely used and comprehensible app. Very easy to understand, very easy to navigate. There are, of course, other apps out there. This, in my opinion, is the best, which is why we'll be using it. It is very, very easy to create an account and join the league, which I will be hosting, which I will get further into in a moment. So, the name of our league, which we will all be participating in, is Boys with Bouncing Balls Being Buddies, baby. As you can see here, I have created a logo that I created myself without the use of AI. I am, of course, open to critique. Should you think anything about the logo should be changed, I am ready to hear your constructive criticism. And I will also completely redesign it should you feel that is necessary. So now that we know a little bit more about the league, I would like to talk about fantasy football itself and a little bit about how it works. So step 1, you will receive an invitation from me. I will actually be leaving the link to join in the bio of this video, if that's easier. And if for some reason that is not working, I can send you the link directly, or perhaps you'll receive it from someone else. Once you have clicked that link, you will be brought to the ESPN app, where you'll probably have to download it if you haven't already, and then you will have the opportunity to create a team. This asks a lot of creativity from you, the manager. In the creation of the team, you'll be creating a team name as well as choosing a team logo. It is very deeply rooted into fantasy football history that team names are often a pun. If you don't know what a pun is, it is taking a word and taking another word that sounds similar and combining them. For instance, I worked at AJY this summer, where I was the intern, but because my name is Finn, I was the Fin-turn. Checks? Thank you. So my team, which I have already created and decided the name upon. Oh, I forgot. Because we are all residents of the Heidelberg area, I thought it would be appropriate if we chose Heidelberg-related puns. So my team name, which I decided upon earlier today, will be Universitätsgärts rather than Universitätsplatz, because Gärts are good. Thank you. Yes, so once you have created your team, we will then move on to a draft. So once all the players have created their teams, all the logos have been chosen, all the team names have been chosen, and everyone is in the league, I myself, as the president, will set a day for the draft. The draft is when we all choose our players we would like to represent our team. And I feel for a lot of beginners and even experienced players, a draft can be cause for concern. But I would like to dispel any concerns you have right now. The draft is not something to fear. On the set day that I will choose, you will be tasked to choose players for your team. Some people like to implement real strategies into choosing their team. They may build their team around one specific player. They may be going for the best players. Or I have also seen completely different strategies. For instance, I've seen people draft players based off of names. If the names are funny, if the names are inappropriate, if the names are funny. I've also seen people draft players based off of their appearance, if they are attractive. Sometimes the most attractive players are also quite good at football. As I said before, there are countless different strategies for how you would like to draft a team. Also, I've included here that there are many YouTube videos that would teach tutorials on how to draft a team and strategies you could implement, as well as tips on what players to draft, when to draft those players. And also, a fantastic component of the ESPN app is that they include mock drafts or practice drafts. So if you're not entirely sure how a draft works, you can do a practice one against robots or against real people who are also just trying to figure out how a draft works. And this will give you the opportunity to practice a draft before our real draft takes place. Tagging on to that, in the past, in drafts, I have set up a Zoom call for my fellow league members to join so that we can discuss our draft picks as we are making them. We can also express our grievances when a player that we wanted has been drafted by someone else. It's just an opportunity for all of us to be in communication during this draft, which I feel adds on to the fun. This is another amazing component of the ESPN app is that if for whatever reason you feel that the draft is too daunting, or if you simply cannot make it to the draft, if you're busy at that time, the ESPN app has an auto draft feature, meaning that the players will be automatically drafted for you. And in the past, the players that have auto drafted have always performed miraculously well, very, very well. So if that's something you would like to do, feel free. No one will blame you. But I can also say from experience that choosing your team yourself creates a stronger bond with that team. You feel a little bit more passionately, you feel closer to the players, and that I feel is very important, that chemistry. But like I said, the auto draft is a very, very nice feature of the app. After the draft, we'll begin the games. The games begin in early September, meaning we'll have to have the draft before them, and there'll be 18 weeks of games. Of course, your players will be from all sorts of different teams within the NFL, and the games will happen on Thursdays and Sundays, and occasionally on Mondays. But you will only have one opponent per week. So let's say I am competing against Emma Watson. All of Emma Watson's players will receive points based off of how they perform in real life against their opponent in real life. So let's say I have Tom Brady. He's a quarterback and he has a stellar game. He gets 40 points. That's 40 points for my team. Each player will themselves get points. And then all of those points will be added up. At the end of the week, whoever has more points, me or Emma, will win that week and move on to the next week. So it is your duty as the manager of the team to decide which players you would like to start and which players you'd like to have on your bench. There's a lot of things to consider when choosing who to start and who to have on your bench. The ESPN app, like I've mentioned, is fantastic, and it gives you projected scores. They predict how many points they think each player will receive that week. So that is a very, very easy surface level way to decide which player you'd like to start and which player you'd like to have on the bench. Other things to consider are injuries. If your player is injured, he might not play, and therefore he will not get any points. Another thing to consider is the opponent that your player is playing against. If the opponent is really, really good, your player might not get that many points because the other team is just gonna freaking cook them. You know what I mean? Checks too? Yeah. So there's lots of things to consider. Also, there are many, many websites that you can use that you can compare players in, and there will be expert opinions, people who dedicate their lives to this app and this sport, that will give their opinions on who they think you should start. That is, of course, using lots of AI, but I have always found that those sources are quite reliable if you are unsure of what to do. So after 18 weeks of games, we will move on to playoffs. This is just a very standard playoff bracket, single elimination. So if you win, you're moving on. If you lose, you are eliminated. And there's also a loser's bracket you would then be partaking in. And then the exciting part, at the end of the season, we as an entire league can decide if we want to have the very top winner receive an award, of course, taken care of by the rest of the league, or we can decide if we would like the very bottom unten loser to do a punishment, of course decided upon by the league, which in a way is kind of a gift for everyone else because it's usually something embarrassing. For instance, it may be, Finn, you have to busk on the Hauptstrasse for an hour in a tutu. And that could, for instance, be a punishment. But that's only if I lose, which won't happen. Thank you. And yeah, so that is something we will decide upon all together. And I believe with that, that is the end of my presentation, or the end of my opportunity for you to have the time of your life. Should I have not answered something, please feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a text, get me on the horn, that means call me, or send me a letter, and I will do my best to answer your questions. Also, if you would like me to make a more detailed video on the draft or on strategies for starting or not starting players, I will make a YouTube video for that as well. I really look forward to this season, and I really, truly hope that you would like to participate with me. I promise you, you will enjoy it. Thank you. Have a good one.